Tens of thousands of football fans came to Highbury.
Electrifying.
Yes, guys, welcome back to the Cannon Podcast and another episode of Scouted. We did not plan this. We did. We had a vote. We had a vote with our directors on Patreon and YouTube who get to decide who we do our Scouted episodes on. And Jurrien Timber won by a landslide. And while we were recording a Jurrien Timber Scouted, the news broke from Sammy Mockball that Arsenal are opening talks or have open talks with defender Jurrien Timber over a new contract. Discussions at an early stage, but will from all parties to agree to extend beyond existing deal that expires in 2028. And George, not to toot my own horn, and not that I am an ITK, but Hand of Arsenal the other day said that there was basically one more new contract to come, and I said I think it's possibly Timber, and he deserves it. He absolutely deserves it. So yeah, I'm really excited about this news. We have just done a whole hour looking at Jurrien Timber. So you can go check that out with clips, look at what his strengths are, what his very, very few, but his couple weaknesses are as well. The sort of the meta of the Scouted, and maybe somewhere to go, now he is signing this new deal, is one, how did he become, in my opinion, the best right back in the Premier League? Because availability matters. If you can't do it consistently, that is a big problem. And also, how does he become, in my opinion, he is probably a top 3 right back in the world. How does he become the best right back in the world? So yeah, we had a look at the clips and stuff. You can go check those out for free. But talk us through, first, the sort of the how he became aspect of it off the back of an ACL, as we always say.
We joke, but it's genuinely incredible, the consistency that he's shown after losing a year of football. And, we say it so often, but it is worth just prefacing this, that it's not normal for somebody to have taken a year off football and to be this consistent and to slot back in and act as though nothing has happened. Legitimately, there's been no betting in period about, I've been saying, he needs to work back his fitness. There's a couple bad games. He just walks in and maintains the level. And that's a testament to him and his character. In terms of, what makes him so consistent, it's no surprise. It's his 1v1 defending ability. It's a superpower. It's, this is the best lockdown defender in Europe. You need a job. You need somebody to follow. Jisung Park. You need somebody to Jisung Park somebody. You've got Jurrien Timber, who's been able to do that for every single winger. He has rarely had a 90-minute Callum Chambers versus Montero moment. He just has not. And it's because his fundamentals are so brilliant. You talk quite a bit about how much you love about, his defending and his consistency about defending those distances and understanding those distances. One thing that I was trying to really highlight on the Scouted is beyond that, he does brilliantly to judge and to get to his defensive duel. That's number one. His fundamentals include just being able to sit into the challenge, being on his toes, jockeying position and guiding people with their angles to go to the line, close off the opposition angles. Does that brilliantly. Although those are defensive 101. The one thing that I think is a Jurrien Timber special is this controlled aggression where he decides when to engage his duel. And it's genuinely so intelligent. That is something that he's learned. And we talked about this whole idea, where some people that aren't really good about judging opposition in terms of engaging will look at the chest and follow the chest as opposed to following the ball. And they use that as a crutch when they don't understand 1v1 defending as well. But Jurrien Timber does that brilliantly. Then it's about the agility he shows to quickly change direction and being able to twist, turn, and follow as well. All of those things are at an absolutely elite level. And then, we slightly talked about it. He can do it at any area of the pitch. Left back doesn't lose it. Center back doesn't lose it. Right back doesn't lose it. Can receive off the left or right, twist and turn. And yes, on the half turn, it's somebody that you really trust to receive, turn quickly, and burst through the middle of the pitch. Carry with a lot of thrust. These are all positives. And then when he gets to the final third, I actually think he's quite inventive with his reverse ball and his ball in the pockets. When he's able to spot and find a reverse pass between fullback and center back in the channel, those are things he really excels at. Quite adventurous, by the way, with his passing on the floor. Always love those things. And his ability to carry and almost try to do give and goes. He does take responsibility in that regard. However, to take the next step, and you want him to be the categorical best right back, you've got to...
We'll pause there.
Yeah, you've got to go.
let's talk about that in a second, because I think just to really hammer it home, and what Mikel Arteta was speaking in his press conferences about this today, and he said when you talk about a total player, he has almost every quality that you want from a defender. Almost every quality. Interesting. I wonder what the almost is. I just think as a total package as a defender, as Mikel said, that he's superb, and it is the consistency, and maybe something we haven't necessarily highlighted enough just there, is the desire. And there is a desire to defend. There is a kind of the whole cliche of someone who loves defending, and Jurrien Timber is one of those players who absolutely loves winning the ball, winning his battle, winning his individual 1v1s, understanding those things and doing it consistently. The impressive part is, yes, okay, it's the actual qualities, it's the being able to judge the distances, it's being able to, snap into the tackles, it's being able to, the improvements in his aerial duels, which we spoke about a little bit, and sort of getting off the floor in the Patreon and YouTube members scouted. But yeah, it's the consistency of doing it every single week, every single battle, consistently over and over and over again, especially with the fitness issues he's had. So he well deserves it. And I think once Trent left the league, that's a more obviously eye-catching right back. But I really, really fundamentally believe that he is the best fullback in the Premier League right now. To go to that next level and to really, really improve, as we mentioned with his sort of aerial duels, how he's taken on certain things of his leaping, which we looked at in the scouted. We look quite a little bit at his crossing. I think that's probably the one area of his game that could do with some help. Not that it's bad, it's just a little bit probably less consistent than the other areas of his game. Talk to us about what you want to see. I think for me, there's a flatness to some of his crossing and his passing. I think he can't quite get that whip. We looked a little bit at the sort of the half space cross, and maybe sort of improving there. But I also do think there's a not desire aspect, but maybe a belief aspect from him. And yeah, I think even in some of the assists that he has had, there's been a little bit of luck possibly in getting those balls across. So talk to us about how he takes his crossing to the next level and maybe becomes that level echelon in the world. Respectfully,
it's not been bad, but it's not been good, and it's one of those things that it's like it's the last weakness, I would say. I'll sector it into three main crosses, and we kind of went into a lot more detail on the scouted, so definitely pop off over there. But like the idea of the standing half space cross, first off, he's not early with his passes there. There's a lot of times he delays, and I think he needs to trust his technique to set and play in one or two touches there. Has a tendency to cut back to where the pass is coming from in those half space crosses, and that's not great. And then when he does do it to dig out a cross, it's always in front of the defending back line, which makes it very easy to defend. That's number one. Number two, the standing cross, I like to say, which is very different from the half space cross, is when you're kind of overextended and you're trying just to hang up the ball back post, really simply. He doesn't look up with enough consistency, and he doesn't trust his technique. So a lot of times you'll find when he does attempt a standing cross, he's looking at the ball, or he's looking at the direction of travel, and he's not looking at the box to where he has to deliver. And it results in like pretty poor attempts at trying to reach his man from that respect. So he really delayed in looking up, trusting where to go, and being able also to look and continue looking so that he can follow his teammates' movements. That's difficult. Speaking of movement, the last thing is the overlapping cross and the cross on the run, the whipped ball, if you want to talk about that. He has brilliant movement, and he actually gets found quite a bit of times. And the frustrating part is because of the amount of times he gets found and the success don't match. And a lot of it just comes down to me rushing the action. He is hammering the ball and just hitting it as hard as he can because he knows he's not consistent with his delivery and it can be flat. And so he's compensated by just hitting it as hard as he can in the area. And so it's rushed. And he's overcorrecting to correct for an already poor weakness in that regard. So he's just got to develop consistency on that stuff. It's honestly more about a repetition and the idea that he hasn't been in those positions for me, as opposed to being some massive skill that he doesn't have. But it is quite a skill to be able to hit on the run and still have a whipped cross that's accurate and dangerous into an area. He has shown moments in the scouted, and you see that he can do it. So it's not like there's no example of him doing it. So it's there. It's just about getting a bag of soccer balls to go and do that with more consistency.
Gabriel Heinze can help him. Yeah, I think a big aspect of this is the fact that ultimately he played centre-back for Ajax. He came in, he immediately got injured. Then he was playing left-back at the beginning of last season. If you go back to his starts against Wolves and Villa and Brighton at the top of last season, that was all at left-back. Realistically, he's had less than a season sample at right-back for Arsenal, and he's already at this level. Like, you know, and also doing it off the back of an ACL. But it is relevant, and I think... Actually, the last time he ever played left back for us, according to Transfermarkt anyway, was that Fulham game in December of last year. That's how recent this is, where he's really cemented that role as our right back. Credit to him. It's really what he can do, the consistency, the variety, and the versatility he's shown. But now he's locked down that position. The sky's the limit, and I love that we're locking him down to a new contract. In terms of maybe the final point, the Ben White discussion. How does Ben fit into this? Because Ben's probably lost his place as the right back. There's a fitness discussion. We've always said maybe there's a sale needed somewhere at some point down the line. How do you see Ben White fitting into this Jurrien Timber bonanza we're in?
I'm very uncomfortable with this because I feel that we destroyed Ben White physically as a team. Asked him to play through injuries and literal hamstring tears because we didn't have people to substitute for him. And then now he's in a position where he's got an injury re-injury cycle, and we haven't seen a fit Ben White in how long, mate? Like 8 months at this point, on nearly a year himself, where we haven't seen an actual fit Ben White. Look, if that continues, you can't continue with it. He's on 150 grand a week or something near enough like that. Like that's a wage that you have to consistently contribute more than a year of being unavailable nearly, right? And it's going to be an uncomfortable sale because I think they are very different in their ability to provide the types of pros that they do. And, you know, Ben White for me is a much more offensive weapon. The most offensive fullback that we've got is Ben White.
Yep.
And the most consistent and dominant and variable is Ben White. I can talk about how much I love the man, but if he's not fit, we've got to find a way to switch that. And I mean, he's approaching the last 2 years of his contract next summer, right? So it's one of those things where you have to make a decision and really, yeah, mate, it's this season. I wish we saw the fight between the two because I think it's a lot closer than people think as far as our best right back in talent. But if he's not there and he can't do that fight, we need to find somebody that can. And that's just the harsh truth of it, even if it's self-inflicted by the club, I must add. I do think that Jurrien Timber, just lastly, has shown such a brilliant ability in improving his heading ability that it really makes me hopeful of this crossing thing. And man, every time you say that he's 24 years old, I do a double take because genuinely I didn't believe he was 24 again. Every time you said it, he just strikes me as somebody who's so consistent, who's been here for so long at the top level. I mean, not here, but like just been at the top level so long. You're like, he must be prime, 26, 27 at least. Yeah. And you forget this is a prime player again with off the back of an ACL who lost a year of football. It's just, it is incredible. And I'm really hopeful that we're able to see, because if he fixes those crossing abilities, he categorically becomes the best right back, not just in the league, but you know, up there in the world. If he's able to iron that out and become a more offensive threat.
And the sad part is if that 23-24 season doesn't happen the way it does, I think he probably might be there already at 24 years old. He is to me you know, we talk about Gabriel and Saliba, but he is on that level for me with them. He's a superb talent, and I said this in the scout as well. Maybe suffers from that consistency bias that we have with Saka as well. Yeah. So good every week in and out that people kind of forget him a little bit. Right, we'll finish there. As we said, you can go check out The Scouted on the other side. You can check it out for free on Patreon on a 7-day free trial, or sign up as a YouTube member. Just to let you know, if you sign up as a director, you get access to vote on The Scouted as the directors did for this one to make us do during December. But the news broke as we were recording, so good timing. Thank you, our directors. Thank you, George.
Thank you, good sir.
Thank you so much for watching, and thanks, Jurrien Timber, for keeping it Arsenal.
Tens of thousands of football fans came to Highbury. This was one kind of queue the ladies thoroughly enjoyed.
Electrifying. Inspiration.